Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Superfed TV Presents REBBL Action, covering the REL Divisions 1, 2, and 3. I'm your host, Superfed TV, and joining me today is my usual co-host, Rumblebee. Rumblebee, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. We all saw you sporting the smug goat this week, so that's great. And I hear you've got, a documented paper trail of threatening arson at your workplace, so that sounds like a busy week for you.
We should not talk about that on things that are going to be published on the internet.
No one knows who you are. It's fine. It's not like you have real life friends that you play with in this league or anything like that. And we will have another guest later on in the episode joining us shortly. So, well, actually, you know what? We're gonna start things in a different order this week. How about that? Let's go ahead and kick things off with Division 1. All right, Division 1, Week 9 had some interesting matches. Kicking things off, we had the Skinky Island Boys get the 2-0 win over the Three Mountains, and this is an ongoing feud. Wave and Chaos Ibulu have been battling each other since both these teams were created. I think it's 3 seasons ago. It was these two and Tommy Two Tall's Undead that were just constantly nipping at each other, always in the same division, trading wins back and forth. And it looks like Wave got the better of Chaos Ibulu this time. 14 armor breaks you see there, but not a lot of damage. Of those 14 armor breaks, only 4 KOs, 0 casualties. So that is a bad day on the injury dice for the Dwarves. 55 blocks completed. The Lizards, on the other hand, they had fine damage out of their 10 armor breaks. They got 2 injuries against the Dwarves. So yeah, that was something. And I believe that actually caused, I think the first one was instant removal of one of the niggled blitzers, which I think was your actual handiwork, Rumblebee, last season. But they got that removal, so now that blitzer got fired and replaced by the Three Mountains. And yeah, Skink's doing their part. Trent gets the MVP. Disgusting Skink, can't believe he's still alive.
I tried, man. I tried.
You know, the niggle, it gets the job done eventually. It's actually, I think, probably the best one to inflict on your opponent because it makes them have to decide to fire the opponent or not. Like, it's not like a clear-cut decision. Like a strength bust, you're fired, period. Versus, an armor bust maybe. Right. But no, a niggle's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, nickel on an AV9 isn't so bad, but it's really just a ticking bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it could be worse. But this does, make sure that Wave is kind of a lock for playoffs at this point. It's going to be hard for him to not make it. And conversely, Chaos Ibulu's road to the playoffs is going to need help. We've only got 4 weeks left, and he's not certainly eliminated. I mean, it's 5 spots. Even you could make it, but we'll take a look at the leaderboard shortly. Tadpole's in the big city, took on the Pastry Pests and lost, unfortunately, 1-2. 130 still on his quest. Oh, wait, no, actually his quest is over. Take a quick glance at that. He has hatched a legendary source, so that'll be definitely a thing. He actually rolled.
And it's the first one.
Yeah, first legendary source in REBBL. Dead Loner Line Rat getting the MVP. That is par for the Pastry Pest course. but he might have a bench. You never know. Next up, my match, Brazzers against Rats Off to You. Have you ever had a match? Well, of course you have. How regularly do you have a match where literally every single time your opponent rolls a dice, you're just like, oh shit, no, not again. This was that match for me this season. The Rats of Rats Off to You, very first turn, knock everybody over and get a nice juicy foul and perm a blitzer, and then I Appo it. So it turned it into an MMG, but he was gone. And then another turn, they get 2 more removals. And another turn, they get 2 more removals. Thankfully, most of those were KOs. But I was down, I think I was playing 6 orcs on 11 rats for the first half. So that didn't go well. But then the second half happened, and he got a blitz. And I was really not happy at that moment. Thankfully, I was able to recover the ball. He actually stole it away from me at one point, too, because he had a wizard as well. And so he was able to recover the ball, knocked out my strength 4 lodge ball carrier with the wizard. And he had a storm vermin parked next to my rookie blitzer. My rookie blitzer did their job like a champ. Got 1-died multiple times, didn't get knocked over once, and thankfully I was able to make some hairy dodges and end up stealing the draw. This overwhelmingly should have been a win for Golgothan and my 3rd loss of the season and put me in a rough spot, but it didn't work out. I got lucky at the very end of it, despite how poorly the dice were going for me. And the casualties eventually kicked in too. Turns out if you punch rats long enough, they'll eventually go down. But he kept me to 40 blocks, so that's pretty good for him. Yeah, that was a frustrating game, but I was happy to get the tie.
Playing Golgothan's rats usually is frustrating.
Well, yeah, one way or another, right? Because, I mean, I actually won the toss this time. That's the only reason it went this way. Because he started on offense. It's far more annoying if you start out with the ball yourself because he just parks on the end zone. So. Yeah. New Year Norse took the 2-1 win over Animal Farm in the Sace Ornan seasonal. A lot of armor breaks all around. 40 armor breaks total in the match. That's a lovely, lovely number considering there's 40 blocks from one of the teams. But look at the casualties there. 6 casualties and a kill for the New Year Norse with 4 KOs. That is yes, for those of you counting, 11 removals against the Chaos team. And the Chaos team did right back to him. 7 KOs, 4 casualties, 1 kill as well. 12 removals back the other direction. So, unfortunately, though, when you're playing shorter numbers, that's kind of Norse's wheelhouse. They're experienced at that. Chaos, not so much. When they get down that many numbers, it's a lot tougher for them to capitalize. Live, Share, Die Hard got the 1-2 loss against the Necronomics. Really hoping Duberman would have been able to do me a favor and take out Horny Cricket. Unfortunately, Duberman is on a landslide. He was 4-0 to start the season, and I believe this is his 5th straight loss since that point. Whatever happened week 5, I don't know what it was. Who did he play? That was the team that broke him. Skinky Island Boys, Wave, apparently broke this team. So, Gloom and Zoom got the 2-0 win over Steve. Fiction brought the Fiction magic to the werewolf match off, and actually did MNG one of the werewolves and killed a ghoul. So, not a fun day to be on Steve.
Ooh, the ghoul got the MVP too. Poor guy.
Not a fun one. Finally, a little team called Howl at the Moon played Eat Man Things in a match that made news and headlines. I guess we call it headlines around the league. Even showed up on the podcast. Other divisions were curious how a 7-point match happened with Rumblebee. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that match?
Well, I didn't win the toss, so I received first, and
Go
ahead.
No, it's fine. I was going to make a bad joke, but it's okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. God damn it.
You heard it anyway. Well, guess what? Our guest's here. So thanks for telling us all about that match, Rumblebee. Welcome to the cast. Our special guest this episode is Hipzter. Hipzter, say hi to everybody.
Hello, man. How's it going?
Good, good. You came at the perfect moment there, where
oh yeah,
Rumblebee was just telling us about his wonderful match with the Skaven and how he got to receive first.
Okay.
Always with the dick jokes.
So for those of you that don't know, Hipzter's a prolific elf coach in Division 3. We're going to get a chance to talk about his team in a minute. We're just wrapping up Division 1. But yeah, Rumblebee, go ahead and finish it off here, Rat.
So yeah, I received the kick, and the Rats got a blitz, and because I'm an idiot, I never put anybody on the wing, and that's where he kicked it, and he just flooded that area with Rats, caught the kickoff, and then ran it in, and there was nothing I could do about it. I did KO one of his gutters for his trouble though, and then I just kept scoring, and he kept one turning, and then I would score, and then he would one turn. I think he only had the ball for a total of 6 turns, and none of his KOs woke up, which was pretty great for me.
Between 7 scores, I think he had 3 Rats that stayed out for 6 of those.
Yeah, he had a 30% KO success rate.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that was fantastic for me. Didn't give me a lot of Rats to punch, but it made it really easy for me to just feed my baby wolf some touchdowns and just pray that one of these stupid one-turners would fail. And they never did. And it was just all around frustrating. I hate Rats.
Not a unique thought there. Fair enough. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a peek at the leaderboard in Division 1. First up, we got Necronomics, and then myself, Wave, securing 3rd place there, and Gloom and Zoom in 4th. And really, those, I would say the top 3 are pretty solid as far as the points go. Gloom and Zoom is right on the cusp of everybody in 4th. I think he's vulnerable. And then 5th place is just a hodgepodge of, well, I mean, 5th place technically is just Eat Man things, but really, points-wise, everybody all the way down to Duberman's Live Cheer Die Hard is pretty much neck and neck at 12 and 14 points, and somewhere between there. So, still wide open. I think technically, even Rumblebee in last place could make the playoffs.
How many spots do this Division 1 get?
We have 5 spots.
Oh yeah?
That keeps it wide open.
That's fun.
Yeah. And the seeds are not even by any means. Looking at the way it's shaping up. If you guys don't know, you can go over to REBBL.net and take a look at the division. And you can also see the way that the playoffs are seeding out right now. It's not 100%, how it's going to be because there's still matches to be played and all that can get shaken up. But, for example, if I was to go to the playoffs in 2nd position, I would be up against Morka, which is less than enticing. I don't really want to play Mork round 1. That sounds like a great way to get eliminated from the playoffs right before they start. So, yeah. You got a couple teams to quickly look at. Let's see. In Division 1, we have not talked about... Oh, I did the wrong thing there. Division 1, let's see. Who have we not talked about recently? Pastry Pusts. Let's take a look at them. So they got a win, and they still cannot field... Oh, that's right. There was a cost to this win. The movement up, Ballhawk, Cherry Jubilee, suffered a movement bust. So plus a movement, minus a movement, not so great. We're waiting to see whether or not Cherry Jubilee will get the boot. It is still a very valuable piece for this team. I think what I would probably do in his position is if I, am trying to make the playoffs this season, or while I'm still in playoff contention, I would keep it. And then as soon as I, lose that opportunity to go to playoffs, I would sack it because he doesn't have really any other wrestle gutters that he wants to cage dive with or wants to go after the ball carrier with. The wrestle one that he has that isn't movement busted is his natural one-turner, so he's not going to want to risk that. So, you know, it's a little bit bloaty, but I think it's worth keeping. What do you think, Hipzter?
I would probably fire it.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you want to level a new one, right? And you don't really have a spot to do that anymore.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's certainly true.
And I mean, I think that this is the time to level up something else before the playoffs, especially with rats. They level up so fast.
There are only 4 matches left. I guess the question is whether or not you see the value of Dauntless. I think you're absolutely right that you could get Wrestle and Strip Ball before the playoffs. I think that's 16 SPPs, no problem. I don't think you get to 31, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's... Yeah, Dauntless is certainly what you're weighing in here.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean...
So essentially you're paying an extra, what would that be, 30k for the movement up? So an extra 30k. So 50k is what you're losing in inducements. Would you rather have a Babe, or would you rather have a Wrestle, Strip Ball, Dauntless, Gutter Runner that's able to work in the playoffs? Interesting question.
I'd probably keep the runner, or the piece, honestly. I mean, 50k isn't that much inducements. He's playing down TV to pretty much everyone else in the division anyways.
Sure.
That's true, that's true. He's only 1330.
Yeah, so he keeps things nice and tight. And I mean, he's got 150k in the bank.
Plus the other argument is that really his development focus is already on other pieces. So he would have to then be focusing on a new piece and delaying his development of his Storm Vermin and of his Two Heads Blodge piece, which is what he's been feeding the ball to lately. He had 2 Storm Vermin that were, you know, working up, and we talked about this previously. Fat Rascal is the new one, and he fed him a couple touchdowns in order to get Mighty Blow. So seeing that development there, but I know Lumi really likes to have Storm Vermin that work. He's not like the other Skaven players that we see in REL that are all just touchdown, gutter, gutter, touchdown, gutter, gutter. He wants to rely on that Storm Vermin to control the pace of the match and get those removals. So I expect him to keep it, but I could be wrong.
What do you think about buying the extra lineman? Because he's on 10 players right now.
Because he's got the 1 MNG, I think he'll probably will wait this game. Because he's not going to want to blow his whole bank and buy 3. Just to have the extra one for this match. And I don't think buying 2 now helps you because, you know, you're not going to have any loaners, so it'd just be right at 11. And so you'd be down 100k, and if you lose a positional, then you're not going to have the bank to replace it. And he's had bad winning rolls is the other thing. So he's been pretty cash poor because he had to replace all these Storm Vermin. I think
that makes sense.
I think this is his 5th Storm Vermin in the last season. So not good. But very successful team, as everyone knows. This is a former world champion team. 67, 24, 24. An amazing record. This is the longest standing team in all of REBBL. So, pay your respects. This guy is a phenomenal coach with a great team that's been around a long time. I hope he keeps it. Thought I saw him talking about re-rolling. I hope not. I like having the history of this team.
I don't want to see Lumi in one of the lower divisions.
Yeah. Oh god, that's a scary thought too. Plus, he'd probably re-roll to something horrible and disgusting like Necro.
Or Chaos Dwarves or something.
Ooh, that'd be even worse.
Although his Ogre CCL run was fun.
I love watching him stream. Yeah, if you guys haven't ever seen Lumini stream, he's great when he streams CCL matches. Really explains what he's doing. Often gives his opponent pointers, which that part drives me nuts because I just know his opponents are stream sniping him. But yeah, it's a thing. Real quick, we will check in on our new Legend Sora. So this is Joe Dirt. he was a jump up Saurus. In his last level, he rolled the Agi up, and 130 was
Did he take
weighing.
it?
He did not. He took break tackle.
Oh.
Which is a far more sensible choice, but he already rolls jump up on a 4+ and consistently does it against me. Every single time we played, he's gotten the Kaz off of a 4+ jump up, and every time I throw my mouse at my monitor. Drives me freaking nuts every time he does it. So, I mean, that's probably why he didn't need the Agi up, because he already succeeds plenty of times. Turning it from a 4+ to a 3+ would have been nice. Also, being able to dodge on that 4+ isn't terrible, but break tackle so much more useful in terms of making a blitzer Saurus. So I understand that choice. But that is going to do it for Division 1. So we're just going to jump all out of order here, and I'm going to go to Division 3. We can include our guest and talk a little bit about his matches and his team. So everybody hang on tight for a quick minute while we do the Div 3 intro. Watching that intro again just reminded me, first of all, how much Hipzter hates Lizardmen. But I purposefully, in that video, selected a clip where one of Hipzter's elves is punching a skink in the face. Figured you'd really appreciate that.
You also included one of a Saurus killing one of my catchers.
That's true too.
I caught that more.
Yeah, that's at the very end.
Yeah.
That's probably why you hate the Saurus a little bit more. So before we jump into the matches here, Hipzter, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background with Blood Bowl?
Oh, with Blood Bowl. Okay. Well, I started playing this in Blood Bowl 1, I think, the first digital version.
Okay.
And I pretty much only played against the AI for about 3 years. I never actually
That's
did
why
any
you're so good
at all. Yeah, definitely. The AI taught me how to have my elves killed for sure, because all they do is block, I think, in Blood Bowl 1.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't know. The first team I ever played was elves, just because of how they look.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the theme behind them, and I just got them killed by the AI multiple times until I learned not to ever fight against any team. That's why you see me doing defense even on my offensive drive. So yeah, then I got Blood Bowl 2, and the first thing I checked was whether they had pro elves, and they didn't. And that was really frustrating for about 2 years until they finally remembered to get the pro elves in.
You were always a pro elf fan.
I'm always a pro. That's all I play, really. Pro elves.
That's really interesting, because I learned of you watching you play high elves, and I thought that you were a really, really good high elf coach.
Yeah, that's true. That's when pro elves were not in the game yet. So I got the next thing that was like them.
Very cool. Well, you've had a great record. Your first season, I think, placed top 3. Was that right? With your high elves?
Actually, it was like I finished like 5th on that division.
Oh, wow.
I had a really bad few last matches to that season.
I knew you were in the top, and then it got very competitive at the end. Actually, you were kind of coming out of nowhere, and you got placed in the division that had all of the returning well-known coaches of skill.
Oh yeah?
I don't know how that happened,
okay.
but we used to not seed all of the fresh roll teams as letter divisions. We actually seeded them by how we ranked the players. And so we've recently switched that in the last 2 seasons. But when you started, you were in with, you know, like Kakengrad, who runs the rookie league, and gosh, who else was in that? Just a bunch of other coaches. If you remember, viewers, if you watched Trunkhead and I when we were starting, that was one of those divisions. But yeah, so you Gengar, I think, was in there too.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so all those fresh returning coaches that were very experienced were in there with you, and you were up on the top, and that definitely impressed people. So returning back to the Division 3 matches of Week 9, we had Sukari's, your Lizard Harry, taking on Murder's Row, and Murder's Row were the werewolves that were the ones to watch. Lizards, though, put on a performance, 3-1 win against the Necro team. They got pretty close to even number of armor breaks and block, exactly even number of blocks, actually. But the casualties that stuck were in favor of the Lizards. Regen not doing as much as it could, and a bunch of KOs for the Murderers Row. But, you know, Lizards, they don't really care about KOs. They just come right back. Scooby and the gang got the 3-0 win over Cenobite the Curb. Unfortunately, Drunkernaut is just not having the season he expected. Taking quite a few punches, and his team is just getting more and more beat up every single time I look at him. And that Strength 2 Dauntless or Beastman. Strength 2. Just let it go. Let it go. He wants to die. Why, dude? Put him on the line. He has a family. Anyway, yeah, so a good, well-played match by Scooby and the gang. They also had a slow start to the season, but they've been putting it on lately. Tooth and Fist got the 2-1 win over Lebowski Urban Achievers. And another Chaos team that is struggling to start their season or pick it up. And look at the armor breaks and blocks here. 53 blocks. A bunch of removals. 3 KOs, 4 casualties, 1 kill for Lebowski Urban Achievers. But they still just weren't able to win the ball control. And kind of just got outmaneuvered by these Necro teams. So occasionally they can add agility, being that they are a hybrid team. Moving on to Revenge of the Franks. This is a big match. TeamSpeak Crew version 4 took the win against Revenge of the Franks. The Orcs took a second loss. And drew a death as well, although it wasn't anyone too super important. It was just one of the guard pieces.
He sneaked up to the second place with that win, I think.
Yeah, so the Chorfs are kind of making a big move there.
Yeah, for sure.
And your match, Tribe Urbana against the Necromantic Newbies. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
It was an interesting one, actually. He rolled two double skulls, I think so. Yeah, two double skulls on turn 1.
Ouch.
And he forgot to pick up the ball, I guess, before rolling his skulls.
Yeah, that's
so
not
that
good.
allowed me to that allowed me to get the ball in his offensive drive. And then right when I was about to score, his power went out.
All right.
So we had to redo that match completely. And now on his first turn, he managed to knock out, I think, 2 of my elves. And then by turn 3, he used blockless, tackleless zombie to injure one of my blitzers, blodgestep blitzers out. And then I was, I think, on 8 elves.
This is a thing that's come up a lot in the last couple of weeks is when you start one match and it doesn't go well, unfortunately, if for whatever reason it gets reset, it doesn't go the same way twice.
No, definitely not, man. And, well, yeah, fortunately I don't know if he was feeling pressured or something, and he decided to score on turn 6, I think. That gave me 3 turns on the first half to just score back. And yeah, it was a simple, pass play, 2-turn. Tried to stall back in his backfield. Yeah, tried to stall in his backfield, and he managed. I had a rookie catcher for this one because my IG6 was injured last game. And the first hit he gets by a mighty blowless wolf, he gets nickeled. So that's 100k down the drain. Yeah, and then the second half was just basic get to the other side of the pitch and just stall for 7 turns.
Nice.
It was a good match,
Nice.
I
Well,
guess, overall.
yeah, it's good that you still got the win there. It sounded like you were in a pretty good spot before the reset, so.
Yeah, no, I actually had to waste my apothecary on the blitzer, even though he was only badly hurt. But I think
yeah,
one blitzer against
definitely worth it.
Necromantic is just, yeah.
Well, you're in such a commanding position in the division. It's probably important for you to play for the win every time.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, it's
Look
still
at the
scary
dodge
to
dice,
play.
though. You rolled.
Yeah.
You rolled 65 dodges.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. He had no tackle on his team. That was pretty surprising.
Yeah, I know. That's part of why the Werewolves have not been doing so well this season, is they just don't have enough tackle. And it's something that's slow for Necro to get in general, but the Necro and Div 3 just don't have enough to compete with the amount of elves that are here. But yeah, 84% dodge rate, that's actually, you know, a little bit slightly worse than what it should be. But I would just be pulling my hair out if you rolled 65 dodges against me. I don't even care how many you fail. I would just be going nuts. That's brutal. All right, moving on to the Pantheon Passage versus the Fell with Coda Doll. I got to watch this one, so I can tell you a little bit about it. It was your elf off, your standard elf on elf BS pass back and forth. But the first half, the Pantheon Passers got the ball first. They did a quick 2-turn score. The High Elves were set up to do the same thing right back. They ran everybody down. They had their accurate strong arm thrower deep, and T-Self just threw the wizard right away. And because there was nobody back to help the High Elf thrower, he got stunned. That was a very, very easy 2-0 score. So then down 2-0, they do a quick, 2-turn back. Pantheon Passers now, it's their turn at turn 7, and they are set up to do the 2-turn again to go for 3-1. And then the shadowing happened. Now, there is a blitzer on the High Elf team that I've talked about many times, sidestep, lodge, shadowing. And then imagine the star blitzer of the Pantheon Passers, which is also movement 7. He failed 5 shadowing movements in a row, and then got cornered because he was really trying to make a blitz play with this piece. But because he got shadowed 5 times in a row, he now had to make a 5+ dodge in order to blitz the target that he wanted to. And even then, if the shadowing happened again, it would just be a 1 die. Well, he makes the 5+ dodge anyway, because whatever, and failed the shadowing. And so he now makes the 1 die block. It doesn't do any good. And then he trips up on something else and snakes the catch on a 2+ catch. So the High Elves get the opportunity to score back and make it 2-2, negate that wizard. They make all the blocks. They make the long bomb pass, 3+. But because the High Elf, for whatever reason, didn't want to score on the guy that caught the ball, didn't need to make any GFIs, could have just walked it in, he wanted to hand it off to his Strength 4 elf in order to level that one up. So he did an extra 2+. Yeah, that was a 1. He had a reroll. Rerolled it. That was also a 1. So at the half, it was now 2-1 instead of 2-2 because of an unnecessary reroll there. And then the second half, the High Elves receive. They do a quick score. And Elves decide that they are going to stall against the High Elves. Unfortunately, they forgot about... well, I guess they didn't really forget about it. They just didn't respect the 1 die from the blitzer that was basically back against the thrower. And he knocked over and stunned the High Elf, or the Pro Elf thrower. Sorry, too many elves. Getting them confused. Anyway, knocks the guy out, stuns him. Nobody else can pick up the ball and get in range, and that's where it ends 3-3. So it was an exciting match. No 1-turns. I was kind of expecting to see some 1-turn attempts back and forth, but still, good development for the High Elves. The thing is, with this 3-3 draw, though, I think it does put the High Elves in a position where they're probably not going to make the playoffs. So, and T-Self was, I think, already kind of eliminated. But yeah, that was that one. Finally, Pro in a Party, they got the bye week win against Midsummer Nightmares, just barely. So
I was tempted to roll that as a loss.
yeah,
Penalty for the pinging.
Oh yeah, the pinging. Who could forget? So taking a look at the leaderboard, we've got Tribu Urbana in first place, 7-1-1. Very respectful. You were worried about playing all the elves, and you've done very well against them.
Yeah, I got good dice against them, so
Yeah.
it was fun.
We've got the Chaos Dwarves, TeamSpeak Crew version 4 in second place at 6-2-1. Your Lizard Airy at 6-1-2. They did pass the Orcs. And the Orcs taking that loss. Actually, I was stand corrected, that was their third loss. So they're now at 6-0-3, tied with Pro in a Party. And then the High Elves are just behind them at 4-2-3. But like I said, I'm pretty much ruling them out. They're at 14 points. And the next highest team is at 18 points. So all three of the teams that are, third through fifth would have to lose quite a few games in order for those High Elves to make it. Taking a quick peek at the schedule. Nobody's played a match yet. But the Elves, Pro in a Party, and Fell with Code at All are going to be playing against each other. So that could shake up the playoff ladder quite a bit. You are playing TeamSpeak Crew version 4. That'll be a big match.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that you're looking forward to those chorfs.
I am not. It's also the second time I'm playing the second place, so pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah. And then the Orcs are playing against Lebowski Urban Achievers. I don't think anyone in this division would lose any or shed any tears if an Orc or two met their demise. And then some of the Necro are against each other as well. And Sukari will get the bye week, so he will, no matter what, be in third position, possibly second position, depending on what the result is of your match. If you beat the Chaos Dwarves, I think that would put Sukari in second place.
That's right, yeah.
That's interesting. So yeah, the Chorfs are probably the most vulnerable then of the spots. And then remaining matches, you get the High Elves. Well, actually, you know what? That's an interesting thing. So last week, really quick, I did do a shout out and said, is anyone stronger than Gengar? And there was a conversation. I appreciate that. Gengar is, in fact, the strongest team in all of the lands with the most strength on the pitch with 11 players. This is my call out for this episode. Has anyone ever had to play against one of their former players? Because week 11, Hipzter is going to be playing against one of his own players.
Yeah, the thrower, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. There's a
crazy
Blodge Step thrower over there. That'll be interesting. I don't know if that's ever been a thing before, but if it's not, you would be the first to do it. So that'll be interesting. And then you're a Lizard Airy and Pro in a Party will be playing each other. So another huge match there. Quite an exciting finish for Division 3. Week 12, High Elves against Chorfs. So if the Chorfs are on a losing streak and the High Elves win, this could be a Week 12 playoff spot decider for sure. On the party, I don't think you have any other big matches. Scooby and the Gang could definitely put in some work. I think they have a piling on Werewolf. And Youth and Fifth. So yeah, you get to finish up with all the Necro that don't have tackle. That's kind of a nice, nice soft ending to the season for you. Yeah, lucky you. And then, that'll be a huge match week 13. Revenge of the Franks versus your Lizard Airy. Even if the Orcs are eliminated at that point, they could really, really hurt Sukari right before he goes potentially to the playoffs. So interesting end of the season. Well, let's take a look at your team. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Got a Agi 6 Abomination that is also double niggled.
Yeah, I think I'll probably fire him at this point. That's too much money to spend on double niggle.
Is it? I don't...
I think, especially coming against the Chorfs, they're getting 100k, and if I fire him, I get like 30k.
But he's He's Raj, you know? I mean, he's not going to instantly die. They could, you know, roll push both down and he lives for another turn.
I guess, but at the same time, I'm giving him a bribe, you know? And that's scary.
That's true.
He has a dirty player, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do have a little bit of extra money, but I suppose if you play the TV game, you could scum a wizard.
Yeah, maybe.
I
don't hire
if you don't cycle. If you don't cycle, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough call.
It is, yeah.
At G6, though.
I haven't even used it that much, you know? Because I don't like diving.
You don't dive, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then if I do use him, then he's gonna wrestle the ball carrier, and then he's getting fouled for sure on double niggle plus
true.
dirty player.
Well, and even
bribe.
if you dive and you do fail the dodge in, like he's gonna kill himself or a failed GFI, he's gonna kill himself. So I guess I get the logic behind getting rid of him. It's just Agi 6 wrestle, it's so good.
It hurts, but I think it's time.
Yeah, maybe one more. I don't know. Chorfs are so hard to beat when you play elves.
Yeah, I feel like they have less tackle, but it's still painful.
Well, it's enough to they have enough tackle and enough guard to always have the ball in the cage, and to always push their way through you.
Yeah. And with the strength 4 Minotaurs, it's really hard to get a 1 die even on the ball carrier.
Yeah, well, and he's got a frenzy one too. So like a strength 4 frenzy piece that can just plow his way through whatever you put on him. It's not like you can just mark him.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll be a fun match to watch. I always learn things when I watch you play, especially on your defense. I think you're one of the best when it comes to elf defense.
Thanks, man.
Just because of the way you screen up, I think you figured out how to screen really well. I don't know where you learned that.
Yeah, it's been tough. The AI teaches you things, man. The Blood Bowl 1 AI was much better than this one.
Apparently. All right. Well, that's that team. There's one other team I think we were going to look at. We have not looked yet at Tooth and Fist. So Rumblebee, you got to tell us about a Necro team. Tooth and Fist, coached by Michaels, who is a name that you often hear up around Rebel. He participates in a lot of things. I first of all will say though that I hate the way he's organized his team. My God. Got a werewolf at the top and a werewolf at position number 9.
I very much don't like that. Michael's, fix your team.
Keep it clean, man. What do you like here, Rumblebee?
I like how much guard he has. He's got a really solid amount of guard.
None of it on ghouls, which is also good.
What are you trying to say? Come on. I'm not a big fan of the wrestle guard, but I'm pretty sure we talk about that every time we talk about his team. You got to take the guard when you get it.
Right.
All this development, and he's only got 1 tackle. I feel like that's a misstep. I think Red Claws, the level 4 wolf, should have taken tackle before he took sidestep.
Yeah, he's trying to make it a ball carrier, but he's got a ball carrier ghoul that has everything.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason he should carry with his wolves when he has Limb Chewer.
Yeah, so then the sidestep is more of like a screening piece, but you never want to be screening with your wolf. Like, your wolf's job is not to get punched.
Yeah, at least he's got dodge on it. I mean, that's good for his wolf to have dodge.
Every wolf. The wolf.
Let's see.
He's also only 1 mighty blow too.
Yeah, he's not been blessed yet by the werewolf dice. He needs to look up.
You run into that with Necro though, because really the only pieces that you can reliably get it on, you need to put guard on them, because they're also the only pieces that can get guard.
It's a team that's very obviously in its second season, and he did so well his first season, made playoffs, made a splash to get put up into REL 3. But I think he would do well to just kind of stick with this team for another season of development. And I think he'd be okay if he got relegated. Just, getting a couple, just another level on each of the golems and the whites, I think would do him so well. And of course, he's going to try and get another level on his werewolves and try and get that mighty blow. But I think if you get to the third level and you don't get a mighty blow on at least one of these werewolves, I think you might consider cycling one.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably cycle the blotch step one.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Because you want that block tackle. You need it, especially as a safety.
Yeah. And that'll help him level up faster.
The other thing that I can pick on, because I saw it and it affected me directly, was doesn't have a dirty player, doesn't foul.
Yeah.
Not nearly enough. And when you don't have a bunch of tackle, the few elves that you do bring to the ground need to receive a zombie kick to the face. So it came up in the playoffs, and I think he had a bribe even, and I don't think he used the bribe in an overtime match. Got to keep fouling when you play zombies.
What do you guys think of the Fen zombie?
I kind of like the Fen zombie a little bit if it was a dirty player instead of block.
Yeah.
Because the fending away gives you the option to then boot stuff.
It's a little
probably
bloaty.
Wouldn't. Yeah, especially since he's also move busted.
It's a little bloaty. I don't know if I would have liked it myself, but
and he's close to another level too. It's time to cycle that zombie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a decent enough team. Overall record is 17-6-6. So even though he's not had the greatest season, he had a really, really good first season.
Yeah, didn't he go almost undefeated the first season?
Yep. So
yep,
could definitely be considered a strong team no matter what he does in placements. Sorry, my dog found his toy and I can't get it away from him. That's definitely a thing. Oh, good, he's laying down. That's better. All right. Well, that pretty much does it for Div 3. I think I will just go on the record and say the 3 picks for my caster curse are Tribu Urbana and first place for the division. TeamSpeak Crew version 4. Sorry, Puck Stop. I'm going to say you get 4th place. I'm going to say your Lizard Airy takes 2nd. And between Soul and Regnan's Orcs, I kind of feel like the Orcs are going to get 3rd. They've just had such a good start to the season. I don't see them really washing out. Their team looks so good, too. I pretty much expect to see Revenge of the Franks in Div 1 next season. So, and Hipzter. Welcome to Div 1 next season, I'm sure.
Oh, no.
That'll be fun, having pro elves in Div 1.
That'll be death.
I'm sure they'll do fine. Yeah. Cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to Division 2 after this quick intro. And we are back. So from Division 3 that has not played a single game this match, I just want to quickly look and show how Division 2 has played every single match but one. They are doing it right. I'm jealous. Hate, having a division that's stalled out and waiting. Anyhow, Division 2, Week 9. Trikundo took on Oil Miners and lost 0-2. Oil Miners' Pig Sofa is on a tear. He is coming back strong, so look out if you have to play those dwarves in the last couple weeks. Booze Crew's got the 1-1 draw against Men in Tights, and this is just, the former REL 1 teams battling against each other. Motley and Slightly Bent both. Been around the block a time or two, seen a thing or two, and surviving, but also drawing each other. Booze Crew has just had a ton of draws. He refuses to die. Leafy Mustard got the 2-2 draw against Please Don't Murder Me. Luke Sama surviving 33, actually outblocking Zoot. Can't be happy about that one. Getting 2 casualties as well, so good job, Luke Sama. And not FDA approved, took on Straight Up Flatulence, ATL and Stubings. Stubings got the big win here, 2-1, 24 armor breaks. They are just murdering this team. Rumblebee, I don't know if you can turn me down just a scotch. I can hear myself through your mic. Stubings, though, 38 blocks, 7 KOs, 3 injuries. I believe the VOD of this is on Stubings' channel, so definitely worth catching if you have to play Stubings and want to see how that works. But he's a solid Chaos team and still in the hunt. Ever so close. We'll take a look at the leaderboard in just a minute here. Cheese Tactics Mark II. Unfortunately, got the admin loss to Lords of Decay. Did not get that match played. Not an anime sports team. 1-1 draw against Communist Frat Party. The High Elves were able to kind of stick with the humans the whole match. They're pretty even on it as far as speed and strength goes. But skill-wise, I think the humans are a little bit more developed. And they also just kind of beat the crap out of these High Elves. 5 injuries inflicted, 4 KOs on 39 blocks. Can't feel too good about that one if you are Arch XL. Finally, we had the 1-1 draw between Iron Madden and Ace Trucking Company. This is the match that everybody was kind of hyped for and looking forward to. Really, people wanted to see the Chorfs beat down on Gengar, and it didn't really happen. None of the Tomb Guardians died, so everyone was sad. But considering that there were 20 armor breaks on one side and 17 on the other, 37 total, only 3 injuries in that match. Pretty weak sauce. Just gonna say it. Pretty weak. Gotta work on your injury rules, guys. Disappointing everyone. But taking a look at the leaderboard, Iron Man is, I would say, as secure as he could be. He's up basically game and a half. It's 6-3-1 over the Motley's Booze Crews at 5-5-0. So that is 20 points to 21 points. So actually just up 1 tie. That's actually really super close. So there's still the chance that Motley can take the #1 seed in this div. I'm sure he would love to send a message, but because, and this is updated with this week's results, so I'm not going to go over those until next week. But basically, right now it looks like it's going to be Kimry Dwarf that Div 2 is sending, and I don't think anyone wants to see that from Div 2. So,
I kind of want to see that.
Chaos and Wood Elves and High Elves and Wood Elves, Chorfs, kick it into gear. Because there's been so many draws in this division, though, there's been more draws in this division than any other division, which is also true, or was also true last season. It's also entirely possible that somebody much, much lower on the rankings could end up stealing the spot. Even Kalisti Maya could end up, if he wins the last couple matches, or I guess the last 4 matches, he could find himself in a playoff spot. So, yep, keep playing hard, guys. Play for the win every time. You are playing for draws, you are going to be in trouble. Unless you're Motley, who is going to do what I did and make the playoffs with 6 draws. Calling it right now. Looking at the teams, we got a couple teams that we want to quickly cover here. Who have I not covered? Definitely covered Cheese. Covered Men Tights. Covered Zwark last week. Covered the Booze Cruise. Covered Leafy Mustard. Not FDA approved. Rat Party. Iron Man. Definitely feel like we have covered, but maybe not. Oh, Pig Sofa. We're going to cover Pig Sofa because we covered him, I think, at the very beginning, but his team is on a tear. So, for those of you that are not familiar with this team, it has got all the stat ups in the world and a body count to go with it. The multi-block is new on his Death Roller. But that is a multi-block guard piling on Death Roller. Good God, get out of its way. A lot of guards stand firm on the Longbeards, including a diving tackle and a movement up one. So that's a really bloaty Longbeard. But he's also got a sidestep guard Longbeard, which is just weird. You know, you roll the double and you choose sidestep when you can get stand firm. I don't know about that one. It's just weird. I couldn't say I'd make that same choice. I would probably go Blotch for him, but what do I know?
Yeah, I probably would have taken Blotch in that situation.
Maybe Sure Feet. I mean, I know Rumblebee loves his Sure Feet line dwarfs.
Yeah, on my all lineman dwarf team.
Yeah.
More Sure Feet than Mighty Blow.
Yeah.
Strength 5 runner, though.
Yeah, so we're getting the Strength 5 runner with strip ball and tackle is really the thing. Ever since he got that Strength 5, the team has just been brutal to play against, especially for elves. They just can't get it off him. I mean, they have to obviously roll a red die with Wrestle and hope for the best, and it has not been working out. So the weakest point of this team is prior to Jordir getting the ball, but as soon as Jordir picks up that ball or gets it handed off to him, pretty much expect him to score. Maybe you can screen him and make him dodge, but that's about the only counterplay that you have. And in the meantime, while you're screening him, you're getting hit with a Mighty Blow piling on Death Roller, or a Mighty Blow Frenzy piling on Strength Up, Movement Up, Tackle, all the things. Agility busted, AV busted, Troll Slayer, who has a pretty good record of removing pieces himself. And yeah, he's also got a movement up blitzer too with guard, so he can two-turn pretty reliably, seeing as he has 2 movement 6 pieces. That's plus his 2 runners, so actually he's got 4 movement 6 pieces on a troll team.
It's just a nightmare, man.
All the
I
stats
wouldn't
in the
like
world.
playing. Yeah.
It's pretty bad. He only carries 2 rerolls as well because, you know, every single person on his team has block. Not like he's doing a whole bunch of rerolls because on his pickups he's got sure hands. The only real time he needs rerolls is when he rolls dub skulls or when he fails a dodge, and he's not dodging a lot. So yeah, it's a pretty clean trim team, but looking phenomenal, and I at this point expect it to make the playoffs and also be in Division 1 next season. You can look forward to playing this team, Hipzter.
Oh no. Please no.
Yep, and I think that will do it. We looked at and talked about Lords of Decay. I guess the last one is Iron Man, so I'll briefly look at this team. We talked about them last week, but Tomb Guardian, Strength 6, 2 Strength 5s, 2 Strength 4s, Hail Mary, Lodge on both of Throw Raws. Only thing he needs is an Agi up, and honestly, if he rolls an Agi up on a skeleton, should consider making him the new ball carrier and dropping a Throw Raw.
What is with this division on strength ups though? What is happening here?
Well, it turns out if you are a mediocre player but you roll a lot of strength ups, you can make your way all the way up to Division 2 very easily. Not saying
That's how I made it to Division 1.
Not saying that anyone in Division 1 doesn't have a bunch of strength ups with mediocre play. But you can basically, what I'm saying is, if you roll enough strength ups, you will win games. And just by winning games, you make higher divisions. So that's how it works. But yeah, 4 strength ups. Good luck.
Crazy.
Yeah.
With break tackle, he gets into any cage too, right? So that's
insane.
And
because, you know, strength ups aren't hard to roll. Doubles certainly aren't hard to roll. You've got a Tomb Guardian that is block tackle.
Oh yeah. What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you get through this team?
You don't. You just
Yeah.
don't.
What?
You hope.
You
You
just-
hope that it rains.
You have to go around it.
You hope that it rains and that his throw raws have to pick up on a 5+, and that they just fail it. But to be honest, he rolls 5+s on his Tomb Guardians to pick up the ball all the time. And that's how the Tomb Guardians are so leveled. Because he plays Tomb Guardian ball on a semi-weekly basis. So yeah, between this team and Pigsofa's team, I would be pulling my hair out if I was in Div 2. Like, to have to play these guys. And then Motley is, you know, not a bunch of strength up, but he's just all stand firm guard. So it's just about as bad. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, folks. Thank you, Hipzter, for joining me. Glad to have you on. Good luck with the rest of the season. I look forward to playing you in playoffs, though I don't know which week it'll be, but I'm sure we'll find maybe a hype video round or something like that.
I'm sure you'll murder my elves.
I would love nothing more. Rumblebee, we'll think of you in the playoffs.
Hey, I'm not mathematically eliminated yet, so I can still make it.
Well, then I look forward to seeing your match with Ornan tonight. All right. I'm just imagining the smug goat right now. That's all I'm thinking. A smug goat just putting his chin up in the air as he watches my orcs die. All right.
Yeah.
That's going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will catch you guys next week. Have a good one.